So I think this is kind of a cool approach. Denmark is introducing legislation to help clamp down on the creation and dissemination of AI-generated deepfakes by changing copyright law to ensure that everybody has the right to their own body, facial features, and voice. I've got two articles we're going to source from here today. The first one is in The Guardian, which I believe is the outfit that broke the story and talked directly with the Danish government. And we have some more details from a New York Times article. Let's lay this out. The Danish culture minister, Jacob Engel-Schmidt, and I torture names. I'm so bad at them, so just blanket forgive me through this whole podcast, please. Jacob Engel-Schmidt said he hoped that this bill before Parliament would send an unequivocal message that everybody had the right to the way they looked and sounded. He told The Guardian, in this bill, we agree and are sending an unequivocal message that everybody has the right to their own body, their own voice, and their own facial features, which is apparently not how the current law is protecting people against generative AI. Adding, human beings can be run through the digital copy machine and be misused for all sorts of purposes, and I'm not willing to accept that. And what's interesting is how proactive this approach is as opposed to reactive, in that it's not protecting against a specific harm. And I believe that they said that in the New York Times article, which I actually liked the reporting better in this one. It has more context. The bill went into public comment this week. It has the support of most political parties in Denmark, widely expected to become law after the Danish parliament considers it around the turn of the year. It would basically automatically grant you, a citizen, copyright to your facial features, voice, and everything about how you present.
Makes sense.
The Danish government argues that the prevailing legal approach to deepfake technology focuses on trying to regulate specific nefarious uses, such as pornography, misinformation, and that forces governments into a reactive, defensive crouch. As the technology improves, new harms could easily appear. So this is more proactive. Instead of focusing on a use or the end, what was the purpose of this AI-generated content, it focuses on who is in it. Are you allowed to represent this person or this thing, even just at a blanket level, which makes it easier to enforce. But I think, and they point out in here, it might be difficult to enforce. The bill would make social media companies responsible for removing offending deepfakes, because it's primarily they're thinking about on social media and such here. But it does not penalize users who post them. And if the platforms don't remove a deepfake, they could be fined, the Danish Culture Ministry said in an email. Right. But it would only apply to the Danish territory, which means it would have limited reach. Francesco Cavalli, who's the chief operating officer of Sensity AI, which is a deepfake detection tool, said that this is definitely a new approach that no one else has experimented with yet, but added on, malicious actors operate globally, making it extremely difficult to investigate and prosecute them at the local level. That said, I'm pretty sure the Danish Prime Minister, the Danish PM, I want to make sure that that's the right title. Whatever it is, I think he has some pretty big power in the EU. And the EU has a lot of power.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I read this article or some summaries of this article earlier this week, and it did seem like they're using that as the beginning of something broader, and the hope is that that gets adopted by the broader EU, which will have a lot of power and would probably codify that into some stricter regulation that has teeth. And the other thing is they did provide some carve-outs in it, right, is that you can use somebody's simulated likeness or digital copy for satire or comedy purposes.
Yes, thank you. That is a really important caveat. I scrolled right by it, but I actually had that highlighted. The government said new rules would not affect parodies and satire, which would still be permitted, which does also open up that loophole that so many bad actors, middle bad actors have used of saying it's just entertainment. It's not, this isn't for real. This is just for fun. So there's, that is a potential thing. But yeah, I think overall I like this kind of approach. I don't think it's harmful to anyone to give citizens automatic copyright over their presentation to the world. I think that actually could be a net positive.
I think so too. It is one step, and what we've seen with a lot of this kind of regulation is that it tends to go first in the EU and then get broadly or more broadly adopted around the world. So it's good that they're making progress there. We do have some similar things, not really digital copyright for somebody's self, but we had some deepfake laws go into effect last year in California that had similar teeth against social media companies. And if I were to remember correctly, and I don't know if I do, but I think it was one of those same flaws, right? That the that the action or the responsibility fell on the part of the social media company to do takedown within 72 hours in that case, in the California one. But I don't remember any negative effects to the person that posted it, maybe other than like having their account terminated, but not legal penalties against the person.
Right.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm not actually, I don't remember reading about that, so I'm not actually sure, but I do know that there are some laws in the U.S. on the books about not holding internet websites responsible for content that users have posted. Mm-hmm. I forget the name of it, but there's a pretty famous bill, isn't there, or a famous law?
Section 230?
Something like that, where it's that they're not responsible because they're the publisher of someone else's content, and like,
right.
So that gets all muddy and stuff too, right?
Yeah, I think that's the Section 230 stuff.
That sounds about right. And I suppose I am in front of a computer. So Section 230, let me double check. Yeah, Section 230 is a section of the Communications Act of 1934. No provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. 1934.
Yeah, there's been a lot of hubbub about like how to make that applicable in today's society. Like if that really hits the mark on how social media should be looked at and regulated. And of course, there's tons of edge cases that people cite on both sides of the debate.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that is one where there is a lot of nuance to unfold on all angles of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it'll be interesting. The EU is moving first on a lot of computer and internet stuff like this. So yeah, we'll see. But also the EU does have a history of saying some pretty lofty goals about this legislation that often falls short of because companies find ways around whatever limitations they put in place. In the last 3 minutes of this segment, we will quickly nip over and talk about a change to YouTube's policy that created a lot of a stir online. So the actual update to the policy is not really out yet. All we have so far is this. They are changing the YouTube Partner Program monetization policy, and they just say in its entirety, this is the only thing we have from Google, in order to monetize as part of the YouTube Partner Program, YouTube has always required creators to upload original and authentic content. Those are both in quotes. On July 15th, 2025, YouTube is updating our guidelines to better identify mass-produced and repetitious content. This update better reflects what inauthentic content looks like today, which kicked off a mountain of speculation that this meant they were banning all those AI-generated channels that are just churning out slop, which I would be in support of, and I think most people would, but there are also edge cases where that could cause problems for people. Like YouTube is notorious for not being super great with their automated enforcement systems. But this is all we have from YouTube so far. There's been a lot of speculation flying around. I found this article from The Verge that covers it with a little bit more details, and we have a quick, short 30-second video from someone at YouTube. This is an article from The Verge written by Jess Weatherbed. YouTube is trying to soothe concerns about an incoming update to its monetization policies following backlash from online creators. An announcement that YouTube would be updating restrictions around inauthentic content under the YouTube Partner Program guidelines was interpreted by some to mean the platform was planning to demonetize a wider variety of videos, including those using AI-generated content, clips, and reactions. YouTube is seeking to clarify the situation. There was a video posted by YouTube editorial head Renee Ritchie talking about the changes as just a minor update to existing monetization policies. The updated policy text hasn't been released yet, and in a response to an ex-user speculating that the change will prevent fully AI-generated videos from being monetized entirely, YouTube clarified that using AI to improve content is still eligible if it meets all other policy requirements. With any luck, the clarifications around what counts as mass-produced or repetitive content will at least clear some of the spam that's filling up the YouTube feeds, because boy howdy is it really. As a heavy user of YouTube, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
So I'm glad to see they're taking action. I hope they take careful, measured action. And we'll wrap the end of this. I'm so good on time. Our clock has 44 seconds. This is 32 seconds. Here's Renee Ritchie for us.
If you're seeing posts about a July 2025 update to the YouTube Partner Program monetization policies, and you're concerned it'll affect your reaction or clips or other type of channel, well, I'm Renee Ritchie. I'm a creator who works inside YouTube, and here's the deal. This is a minor update to YouTube's long-standing YPP policies to help better identify when content is mass-produced or repetitive. This type of content has already been ineligible for monetization for years, and is content viewers often consider spam. That's it. That's all.
So, pretty succinct.
Okay.
It makes me optimistic that they'll handle it well.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. I mean, when I hear mass produced content, AI is certainly part of that, but it's also, I've seen people post the same video, like legitimate video on 10 different channels and with no substantial update in the way that the video is framed on each channel. And I think that that's what they're hitting at as well.
That too. And I know people were worried that it would affect reaction channels and channels that primarily like are someone watching someone else's video. And I honestly think a lot of that could fall under that. There's other stuff that doesn't, like Corridor Crew comes to mind, who does the great like VFX reactions, but they're experts. So like that probably wouldn't be.
Right.
It's all about the tools they choose to deploy this kind of enforcement, I think. And we'll just have to see.
Exactly.
Hopefully
we'll have to see.
Hopefully they use more care in changing their policies than the people at XAI. Here comes the dumpster fire of the week that the world has been waiting for. Stick around.
I don't know about that.
Well, yeah.